Alright, I have been seeing a lot of debates on YouTube on who is the best DPS between Tartaglia and Diluc. Now, I have them both, right? I'm free to play, right? So it's not like I have any cracked weapons on them. I don't even have them like at like above C1, right? I both have them at C0, right? My talents, they're pretty basic. 7, 8. Tartaglia have 9 and just 6. Stuff that usual people will have, right? So I'm going to give you my opinion as a free to play because I played them both. Who is the best DPS? Now, this is going to be kind of depending on your playstyle, right? Because Tartaglia, he's not like someone who can carry your team, like he's just always out there on the field, like someone like Diluc, right? Especially if he's on C0. Because maybe if you had like, I don't know, like C4 or something like this, you could pretty much have him on like the field the whole entire time. But this is a C0 aspect. He can only be there for like 35 seconds max if you're just like using his burst mode until the whole duration stops. So you always have to have a sub DPS, which kind of brings him down a peg when it comes to a main DPS. Because when you're a main DPS, you want to be out there as a field as much as possible and just have the supports back you up. Well, Tartaglia, when he's on the field, he's godly, right? If he could stay in this mode forever, he'd be better than Diluc, like by a long shot, because that damage he's be able to get in is crazy. But the aspect of him having to only be there for a short amount of time, so you gotta really have he's like a really bursty character. The problem with that is that you always have to have a sub DPS, right? So my sub DPS is usually someone like Beidou, right? Even though I have Energy Greatsword, she does the damage, or someone like Chi-Chi, because I always have her a good amount of attack, right? So I think that kind of lowers himself for being a good DPS, especially when Diluc, right? Diluc, look at his attack. This is crazy, right? And my artifacts are not like the best, right? I don't even have attack percentage there. I don't even have like wrong one, like crazy attack percentage, right? But his attack is crazy, right? And especially because you can run melt comps, and melt is one of the best things for DPS, right? With his melt comp, you can just get massive amount of damage, especially when you have elementary, like high elementary mastery. Well, for Tartaglia, I don't really have that much elementary mastery because I don't really need it because his like burst stuff doesn't go that much higher, and plus I haven't gotten good rolls where I get elementary mastery, so it's just bad luck for me. But Diluc is crazy. But the only problem with it is his like base attacks, they're pretty bad, right? Like his crits are like usually something around like 500, right? And I have him a lot of crit rate, not that much crit damage because I kind of more build him attack, so he can hit harder with his like E and Q. So I think Diluc compared to Tartaglia has more potential, has more viability when you just want to carry a team, right? I feel like Tartaglia is someone who he can carry a team. I'm not saying he can't carry a team, but compared to someone with like Diluc, where he can just be on the field the whole entire time, all you need to bring is like official, a Bennett, and just like a regular healer to just use him, right? It's pretty good. While someone like, because all you need to do is ramp up his damage and give him little elemental reactions with Chi-Chi and official. Tartaglia, for a team for him, I'd usually run something like Xingqiu, just so you can like, get that extra hydro damage off, and get that healing and all the hydro stuff. And I would run, someone like Beidou for extra DPS, right? Because her E, that does a lot of damage, right? It does a lot of damage, right? Base damage, that's a lot of damage, right? So, Beidou is someone you'd have to run, right? And not everyone has a good sub DPS, which kind of makes Tartaglia a little harder to play because you need to have the right characters to play him, right? Because if you're using him like someone like Tartaglia, maybe you need to build him Bennett as a DPS if he's on your support, or maybe you need to build like a Xingqiu as sub DPS when you have him on his team because he needs that extra like sub DPS. So if you bring someone like Xinglang, you need to have some sub DPS, right? Especially if it's C0. But the burst damage is crazy, right? I know there's a lot of people who can manage, just go in there for 10 seconds, do as much damage as you can, and then just switch out, get like I don't know, like 10 seconds of her or Chi-Chi or whatever sub DPS you have to do that damage. But I feel like Diluc, right? And I love my Tartaglia. I think I like Tartaglia more Diluc just because his swords are just the coolest thing to use, right? His playstyle is just way more fun than Diluc, but I feel like Diluc definitely has the edge when it comes to being the best DPS. Now the reason I'm not talking about attack, right, is because I feel like attack doesn't really matter that much. Now I know it's just DPS, but someone like Bennett, if you make him into a DPS, he could of course do the same amount of damage as him. But it's just that his kit, like Tartaglia and Diluc's kits, are just made for DPS compared to someone like Bennett, who just is kind of made more for support, especially with this move. And to like really get him to like this to attack, you need like C1 and like C4, right? Because anyone can get to a Diluc's tech if you have the right artifacts and the right weapons. But these two just have the best kit in the game compared to everyone in the game. Like someone like Ganyu or whoever you want to call, like Zhongli, what's his name, Keqing. They don't have as good as a kit as Diluc and Tartaglia. Now maybe Zhao might come out and it might be different. Maybe he might be the best DPS, and if he is, I'll make a video on him, right? But I feel like Diluc, even though so many people started hating on him because like people are like, oh, you don't need Diluc anymore. But I feel C0, he is possibly the best DPS in the game, right? And I'm not saying because I'm just a fanboying over Diluc, right? Diluc is not my favorite character. You can see my friendship level is 8, and you can see my friendship level 9 for Tartaglia. I play Tartaglia more, right? I even play with Chi-Chi and Bennett more, right? So I feel that Diluc is the best DPS at C0 compared to anyone. Now, if Tartaglia was like C4 or something random, he would have been better than Diluc. But right now, C0, Diluc is possibly the best DPS in the game. He just has such an amazing kit, and especially because he's a fire element, fire elements have the best elemental reaction in the game. And especially because it's so easy to build them when you literally get one of the best 4-star weapons just for free pretty much in the game. Of course you have to farm resources, but it's pretty much free, right? Anyone can do that. And just because, you just need to attack on him, like, and he's just godly, he's just broken, right? So I feel like Diluc, compared to Tartaglia, I like Tartaglia, but Diluc just has the edge over him. He just is built for DPS. Look at this 3,000 attack, right? I don't even build him for attack that much, right? I kind of just put whatever good artifacts I have on him. I barely even farm his artifacts, and he's just this godly. Like, you can't really say anything when he's the power element. I feel like power element is the best for DPS. Just look at it. Look at all the DPS for the power element. Bennett, Xinglang, and not trying to remember, but they just have the best elemental reactions. And having this, you are pretty much broken if you have to. Well, not broken because someone like Bennett can compete with him in a DPS, but he obviously has the best kit to be dealing with enemies compared to Tartaglia. Of course, Tartaglia has more value because there's barely any Hydro DPS, and he's obviously the better. Like, he's funner to play because I like playing him. He just is so fun to play, right? Just bow form and dagger form. But if we're going off of like DPS, I feel like Diluc is the best DPS, right? And maybe you might say Razor, but at Razor at C0, he doesn't compare to someone like Diluc. Maybe if you had like C6, maybe he'd be comparable to Diluc. But Diluc just has the best kit in the game, especially with his E and his Q, because his E is just automatic elemental reaction if they're frozen, right? And most people run a freeze comp with him, so that should be easy damage. And his Q is just broken, right? Look at it. It just hordes people up so you can just go attack. It's pretty much like a minty venti ult, right? It just pretty much groups everyone who's in front of you. So I feel like that's more broken. Now, I can understand why you say you might like Tartaglia, just because he has so much damage in his burst form, because like, in this small amount of time that you're fighting in your burst form, you're getting massive damage off. Just look at this, right? See? Just massive amounts of damage, right? But I gotta wait 21 seconds from me walking over here to fighting these enemies. That's a lot of time. I have to switch into my Chi and do a lot of fighting while that things are charged. And no, I'm sorry to tell you this, but no one likes fighting the bow form. It's pretty, like, it's not that fun. And I'm not gonna do Ganyu gameplay with aim shot. It's just, it's not my thing, right? So I feel like Diluc, when we're talking about pure damage, like pure damage output, Diluc is much more of a better option to use over Tartaglia. Now that's my opinion. You might disagree with it, but I can understand it, right? He does more damage in his burst form, but Diluc, he can be on the field and bring it massive output of damage. Alright, that's the end of the video. If you watch it all the way through, make sure to like and subscribe. Appreciate all the support from my last two videos. You guys are amazing. You liked it a lot, so I hope to keep on entertaining you guys, and see you next time. Peace.